Hello and welcome to Stationeers modding. In this video, we're going to be going through setting up a simple prefab in Unity and then adding that prefab to the game. So basically, by the end of this video, we'll have an object in the game that we can spawn through the creative menu. So if you've watched the last episode where we went through and made a simple Unity project, so we're going to be continuing off of that. If you haven't, make sure to check out that video. But I will just go ahead and open up the Unity project right here and we can start getting something into the game. Right, so there we go. Here is the simple Unity menu or main menu. So basically, we want to start off by renaming the scene, which we don't actually have a scene. So we're going to save the scene by making a folder. We're just going to call it scene. And then over here, we're just going to call it main. So this will be the main scene. And so for the simplicity of this video, we're just going to add a sphere. So simply over here in the hierarchy, we can click on 3D object and then a sphere. And there we go, we have a sphere. And this sphere comes with a sphere collider and a mesh renderer. So the thing you want to know about Stationeers is that there are dynamic things and there are regular things. Dynamic things are like tools, stuff that you can throw around. Dynamic things are usually not constructible, so they will be an item that can be picked up, like a drill, like a screwdriver, a handheld tablet, a portable tank. Those are dynamic things. So depending on what you want to make, you want to figure out which class you're going to be inheriting from. And the easiest way to do this is by basically looking at the decompiled code for Stationeers. So for example, if we take a look at an autolathe, so simply if we search for autolathe, we can see that this thing inherits from simple fabricator base. And simple fabricator base inherits from fabricator base, where fabricator base inherits from device import export, and device import export inherits from device import. And then device import inherits from device, which essentially inherits from small grid. So that already tells us that this thing is a placeable thing. And small grid inherits from structure, where structure inherits from thing. Whereas, for example, if we take a look at a power tool inherits from tool, where tool inherits from item renamable, and then item renamable inherits from item, and then item inherits from dynamic thing. So you want to figure out what it is you're going to be inheriting from, which class is going to be the most similar to what you're going to implement. And for my use case, since this is basically a sphere with no functionality, it's going to be a dynamic thing. So what we will do is that we're going to go ahead and create a C# script. And we're just going to call this sphere example. And we'll open up the new script we just made. And over in your IDE, you want to change the mono behavior to whatever you want to inherit from. So like I said, in our case, it's going to be dynamic thing. There we go. And these two methods are not needed. Not for my use case, at least. So immediately you'll notice that the script now has stuff over here on the side available for it. Cool, so what do we want to do now? Well, you'll drag the script onto your object. And once you click on your object, if you scroll down, you'll notice that you have a bunch of values that you may or may not need to fill up. Now, there are a few that you have to fill. So for example, the prefab name alongside the prefab hash, the thing transform, the blueprint for dynamic things. You only need it if you're going to use the exact placement functionality. You know, where you click T and then you have a hologram where it shows you where the item will end up if you press left click. That green hologram is what the blueprint is. And then a thumbnail. If you want to pick it up and have it be in your inventory, then you're gonna need a thumbnail. Otherwise, it's going to throw null reference exceptions. And also a rigid body is recommended. So let's go ahead and fill these things up. Now, there is a modding utility that we can use, but in this video, we're going to keep it simple. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to rename my sphere to example sphere. And I'm going to copy the name. And then over here, I'm just going to click the lock button up there, so then this inspector doesn't disappear whenever we click on something else. And I will paste the prefab name right here. As for the prefab hash, it wants the decimal value of a CRC32 checksum. So basically, if you go to this website, crc32.online, you can input the string, calculate it, and then you can copy the decimal. Then the decimal will end up as the prefab hash. As for the thing transform, simply drag and drop your object into the thing transform. For the blueprint, since this is a simple sphere, I am just going to make another sphere. And you may ask, why can't we just take the sphere and assign it as a blueprint? Well, since it has a script on it, it throws errors, at least from the last time I tried doing that. So we want to avoid attaching objects that have scripts on them as blueprints. Also, for you who might be working with advanced meshes, so basically not just a simple sphere or a cube, it's like if you're making a machine, for example, and if your mesh has multiple meshes embedded within it. So for example, if this sphere was to have a child capsule like that, then you cannot use it as a blueprint. The blueprint has to be a singular mesh that is combined. So for example, if we have a capsule right here, right, and then a sphere, and then these the sphere is the child of the capsule, then this we cannot drag this and assign it as a blueprint. The inspector will let you do that, but once you load the game, it's not going to load, and it's likely to throw errors. So basically, the blueprint has to be a singular mesh. It cannot have child meshes. So like I said, in our use case though, we only have a sphere. So what we will do is I will just have another sphere over here, and then I'm going to call it example sphere underscore blueprint. And just to make it distinct, I will go ahead and make a material. So I'll make a folder called materials. And then within material, I'm going to make a material and just call it blueprint. Obviously, you don't have to do this. And then we're just going to make it green. and assign it to this sphere. So now we can tell that this is the blueprint sphere, this is the actual sphere that has the script on it. Cool. So the blueprint technically is done now. So what you can do is go ahead and make a prefabs folder and drag and drop your blueprint into the prefabs folder. So now when we go back to example sphere and then scroll down to the blueprints section right here, we can simply take the prefab from the prefabs folder and drag it into the blueprint section. As for the thumbnail, I'm just going to use the simple knob for now. And same for the rigid body, just drag your object, your thing, if you so will, onto your rigid body. Obviously, your thing needs to have a rigid body, otherwise nothing is going to show up over here. So if you don't have a rigid body, make sure you get a rigid body. So that's basically it. Believe it or not, it was that simple. The only thing left to do now is to drag the object from the inspector into your prefabs folder to make it into a prefab. So now this is now a prefab. And what we'll do is just a sanity check by just opening up the prefab and making sure that everything we assigned is still there. So the name is there, the prefab hash is there, the thing transform is there, the blueprint is there, and the thumbnail is there. And same for the example sphere. So that's basically it. We will go out of this and simply go to File, Build Settings, and then simply we are going to hit Build. And now it's telling us, it's asking for a mod directory. So for me, I'm just going to put it in Documents, My Games, Stationeers, Mods, and then select the folder, and then obviously save the scene before we export. Once the export is ready, let's go and make sure that it is there. So mods, and over here we should have example Stationeers mod. And within it, we'll have the DLL, we'll have the standalone windows, and we'll have the about section. Before we run the game though, I'm just going to add a reference to our mod in mod config so I don't have to restart my game. So over here, simply, we want to take this local path over here. And then I'm going to turn this into a true. And then the path is going to be this path right here. So just like that, that's the path. Click save, and then let's go ahead and launch Stationeers. There we go. All the mods have loaded. Right, so there's our game opened up, and in the workshop menu we can see we have the example Stationeers mod. And let's take a look. If we open up the creative menu and search for sphere, there is our sphere. So let's go ahead and spawn it, and voila, we have a sphere in game. Yeah, I think dynamic things just can't be picked up, so I'm just gonna confirm by closing the game. And what we will do is, instead of inheriting from dynamic thing, we're going to inherit from item. Our script should recompile and everything should retain its values. Right, let's go ahead and recompile everything. So file, build settings, build, and simply just select the mods folder. And now we will launch Stationeers. All right, my game has finished loading. Let's go ahead and load up the world again. And now, if I'm not mistaken, the sphere should be pickable. There we go, there's our sphere. And yes, you immediately see the pickup. So there we go, we have the sphere in our hands. So obviously this is as simple as it goes, right? If you're going to add functionality, you're obviously going to work more in depth with script and coding/programming. But I hope this video was helpful for everyone wanting to learn how to get stuff into the game. It's really simple. I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, join our Discord. And don't hesitate to ask any questions. See you later.